head into the ban phase. As I mentioned before, G2 will begin on the defense, which is very much a defender-sided map player. Clash, Monty banned out. I love to see that. I don't want to see the shield play here on the final map, and it's quite ironic that Jasmine said at the start of the show, no more best of ones, it's all best of threes. Well, guess what? This becomes essentially a best of one now.
And I love it. As the good situation now, we get to the next ban phase, and G2, obviously they're going to go for different attacking bans than what they did historically. Like, they usually like to get rid of hard breachers on a map like this, but they have gotten rid of Monty and Ying, two staples of Brazilian play. But first round, real good chance. Maybe we'll finally see a team take advantage of a first round victory. But on a map like Lair, the one thing that Lair provides that I think no other map really does is there's so many positions that you have to clear. There's so many spots that a roaming defender could be in that could cause you problems going to the late game. And with G2 starting on defense, they got to take advantage of that.
So it comes down to this, best of one. Winner moves on to the semi-final. It's been a bit of a fairy tale kind of stage overall for Ninjas in Pajamas in terms of what they were able to do in the South America League and the qualification to the Esports World Cup and their performance here. Does that fairy tale come to an end here in the quarterfinals for G2? Winners of EML, expectations finally placed on this roster once again. But could it all come crashing down? One of these two teams, well, their fairy tale does come to an end today.
Yeah, and I always feel like just by playing under the G2 tag, there's inherently more pressure on you because of what legacy players did for this team. So this version of the roster, you always expect one. But you could argue this, like, NIP are one of the biggest names inside of Siege. Yes, they've been on the island of irrelevancy for a little while, you know, outbeaten.
About a year and a half.
Yeah, that's an eternity.
It's a long time
inside.
in esports.
We've got a new Siege, essentially, since then.
So what can they do on the attack here for Ninjas in Pajamas? Stealing these early attack rounds will be so vital to release that pressure eventually into the second half. If they've got a couple of attack rounds under their belt, means for G2 they need to be switched on. Cafe, one-sided. Bank, one-sided. Will Lair prove to be a little bit different and create a more evenly matched up environment?
A lot of the G2 players playing tight together at this point in time, using the verticality of this map. And as you can see, you know, players inside of display, storage, mask room, all looking to provide a problem. Now, Hates will continue to open up that site wall with the Maverick. G2 should have eyes on when they elect to plant. And something that G2 were very open to was that little... Oh, there we go, Alamo with the first kill on the Fantasy. I was about to say, they didn't really get the opening kill all that often, and Alamo will straight in with the abuse.
Not going to lie, though, for Alamau, there was not any abuse on Bank because he could barely find a kill. But he feels confident off the back of that opening pick. Isn't in control for Cons. Not often you see Punks and Briefing as the opening site choice when it does come to Lair. It's actually attacker-sided in the South America League. That's not really conventional. Goomine stepped on for Wizard. Logic Bomb was sent out. Just under a minute remaining. NIP have had moments where they can play rather slow in the series thus far and been at their best when they pick up their pacing.
Blaz is inside of security as well. The logic bombs are going to be deployed, so that'll give away the positions of so many of these players at this point in time. But you got to look at that Blackbeard being so important for this attack. You can see Cons.
Hates is ready for this, though, and Blaz is going to have no idea that he's sitting dark, but he does not lose his life. Only a shoulder tap. Hates has not got the time to sit there and watch, though. 24 seconds. They found at least one pick onto Doki, but Alamau finds his second already in the round. Feels like he's already matched his total from Bank. Blank going down, but it has been pinged up. Cons will stand up, try and take the fight back to Alamau and wins it. And suddenly from the disadvantage for NIP, they could take this round. But Loira and Stompn are still alive for G2. Loira shuts down Wizard on the flank, but the plant will be successful. Now becomes a retake scenario for G2.
Really important now that the Blackbeard does not take any unnecessary risks. Force G2 into that air. 2 versus 2.
Cons goes down. Stompn up above.
Yeah, he's going to go down, so it's all down to the Maverick now in this post-plant situation. Now, as it stands, look where Hates is over on the map feed. He's a long ways away from that diffuser, but he's got an angle to work with.
Got to play this smart, G2. You got 2 bodies, 2 players alive. Play together. They know where Hates is now in the long angle, watching the kit. 12 seconds. Main thing for Hates here is less the kills and more so the time delay, but he gets taken down, and with that, it will be diffused by G2. They take this round in a nail bite to kickstart Lair. Stompn and Loira, the dynamic duo for G2, get them on the board.
The Blackbeard Fallen was critical for G2 to win that round, but remember, every single map in this series, the team that went on to win the first round lost the series. So G2 will be looking to rewrite history in this game against NIP. But first round underway, NIP lose. They got the case down. You thought that this was a brilliant scenario to be in, but G2 held the ground, got the job done. Now they're going to go back up to the top floor, up towards Master Office to reset things up. Anything about this side? Because obviously you've had more opportunities to cover this map that I have.
Very much plays into that slow play style. Almost think top floor cafe in terms of you're not going to have a lot of that map control. You're going to poke and prod around the site itself. A lot of work needs to be done on the breaches, so the exterior is going to be where a lot of the battle is. The mezzanine control as well. Probably see some fights there.
Do you want an update from the games on the A stream?
Yes, but I feel like I'm not going to like the update.
So close your ears if you don't want to know what the score is, if you plan on watching it later. But Team Secret have won Chalet. They will progress. Weibo go home. But again, based on the start they had to APL this year, the fact they got this far is definitely shoots of growth for them. But we still got to send another team home here on Lair.
I think it says a lot about Secret. I know you could kind of look at it and say, well, it's an APAC team, but Weibo's strength yesterday was outstanding. They've been on the rise, but Secret, they look like a roster to me that's just so quietly getting it done. They might not get the plaudits of a G2, for instance, and I know they obviously, in Secret, didn't win EML, but yeah, they're showing some really good strength to kickstart this campaign of Siege this year, and on their path towards, you know, the majors and SIs, they're going to be a threat to come. And Secret will now play the winner of our next game, when Shopify Rebellion and Space Station sets up a NAV-EU battle for a semi-final.
Look, they're my dark horses for this event. I trust the coach. And Secret will do pretty well, and they've now secured another game on the main stage. But we're well underway on this map. As things stand, we've got some pressure being opened up as the Selma charges will now go off. If you look at the positions of NIP, they're really trying to choke it out, right? All of them are on the exterior, on north, south, east, and west of the map, just trying to pinch those defenders into place.
So far, what you would expect, though, from top floor Master R6. Again, that slow approach, it can certainly play into the favor of NIP. They love that slow, structured setup. So calculated in the way that they attack at times. Nitrocell in hand for Doki. Through it, but over the shoulder of Fantasy, after Fantasy did land a couple of bullets into Doki, so that Nitrocell gets wasted.
Yeah, he needs some pressure. Doki needs some help here to get rid of Fantasy playing on top of Mez. Fantasy really not... there you go, there's the swing, but Fantasy wins those.
Fantasy was ready for the battle towards the mezzanine to eventually come through, but he was not ready for the angle held by Doki, hiding behind the chair. Big kill from Doki, and Wizard will fall on the Grim.
Another player goes
Another
down.
door swing from G2. They're trying to be aggressive against NIP, disrupt this setup that the Brazilians want to employ. Loira knocked down, up close. Alamau shotgun. He's feeling it here on Lair in comparison to the previous map, but maybe overcooked, overswung and punished by Pino. Blaz is the only one that's standing now with 30 seconds left. And he pushes. He wants to battle Pino.
That 2v1 decision to be made. Do you go to get Loira back on his feet? You can't really go for it. The fight's going to happen. NIP, they're going to get the round one, and they will level the sides once more. It's deja vu all over again, the way these maps play.
It's massive. Massive for NIP. They get an attacking round on the best defensive site on this map. That is a round in which G2 need to be winning.
This is you need a 4-2 if you're G2. I really feel like this is one of the maps where you got to capitalize on it. If NIP can get a 3-3 half, they'll be in a wonderful position, but it's so far away.
Sets them up then to be the favourites going into the second half if they can do that. Early days. It's funny, you mentioned the curse of winning the first round. For those unfamiliar, Cathay, it was NIP. An incredible display in that opening round, and then lost 5 rounds straight after. And the same was the case on Bank, where G2 incredible in the first round and then lost 5 rounds straight. I'm not implying it all happened here again, but hey, funnier things have happened.
Well, correlation
and a repeat
causation
as well, which does make sense here for G2.
You know what? I'd love to see NIP win a round or two now, just to see if it really puts the fear into G2 that, oh no, we're in that situation all over again. I'm looking behind me, and you can see G2 players, they still look very relaxed. I'd say the most relaxed player on the G2 side is probably Stompn. And he's probably, you know, he's sitting there going, the newest, the rookie player. And I guess the big thing is, he's got no scar tissue. He's not lost from situations like this before, and that's always something worth talking about, because the doubt's not going to creep into someone like that.
And don't forget, Alamau was confident after the first round, started throwing out bot comments once again that we saw earlier on Cafe. Not really going out on Bank. Haven't seen much trash talk though from NIP, but as they're winning these rounds, they're starting to find their voice more and more.
There's nothing better than the Brazilian roar on LAN, and as NIP keep winning rounds, they'll get louder and louder. Now we're in this round. Fantasy has already made his way inside the map at this point, as he will push his way on over. Might run into some resistance from Alamau on the opposite side, currently standing inside a storage. He's playing on the smoke, so he can hold back Fantasy for a little while, but hits with the buck below should be able to clear out that position. Cons is getting closer and closer to Alamau here.
Vulcan canister fire will expire. Gas Babe thrown out by Alamau, sensing pressure. Playing a very pivotal part of the map here for this top floor defense. Not afford to lose his life there in a peak. 2 Pino outside on the exterior at the balcony. Alamau definitely being tested now by NIP. The Blackbeard with the shield up, no damage done. Gas Babe and fall back, Vulcan canister popped, and Pino finds an angle onto Loira. It's a long angle on the entry.
Tough. This is tough. This is really, really dangerous now for Alamau with pressure coming his way. 3 members.
No Gas Babes left either.
Yep, nothing left to stall back the push as 3 members from NIP all begin to push their way over through storage. They've got to rotate back into sight. Now G2, they've still got Blaz over by Paintings, making sure that nobody can vault in that
Alamau's
fight, but
down.
Alamau's going to go down.
Wizard taking the battle with Blaz. Blaz may feel like he has to go for this peak, find a pick back. Otherwise, they're getting overwhelmed here by the attack once again on this top floor. This would be disastrous for G2, and they lose Doki as well. Down to Stompn and Blaz. Blaz will win his battle, and so did Stompn. But as soon as he comes back around that corner, losing his life and leaves the rookie alone in a 1v3, the Blackbeard's too strong. The shield stays standing, and NIP will find a second attacking round on top floor. Lair.
And now we're starting to see those trends happen over again. NIP, 2 rounds on attack. G2, they're reeling, they're falling back, they're giving up way too much space here on Lair, and NIP are taking advantage of it. And the thing is, right, you looked at the setup that G2 brought. You had Alamau in storage with those toxic babes. You had multiple of the Goyo canisters in those positions for the Flames to just slow it down. But it only slowed down about 1.5 minutes. That is not long enough for the utility that they brought.
So they give up on top floor then,
yep.
Okay? We'll go basement, we'll try there, maybe that will work. This is the concern now for me though, Gibson, is that if basement doesn't work and a 3rd attacking round is found for NIP, at that point, mentally for G2, you can't help but think, what do we now do? This is supposed to be defender-sided, and we can't defend any of these key primary sites.
And the thing is, globally, you look at basement on Lair, it's a toss of a coin. It's like 47% attacker win rate. So this is by no means a safe site whatsoever for G2.
Funnily enough, though, in South America League, it's a 62% defensive win rate. So there might be a world in which, for NIP being a Brazilian team in that region, they, along with the others in that region, may struggle a little bit in attacking this site. That could be a benefit for G2. And dare I say, I feel like they must win this round. If they lose this round, instant timeout, but then you've already given NIP the result they really would have wanted in this first half, which is 3 attacking rounds. You will be so far behind the 8 ball in a do-or-die final map quarterfinal.
And then you look at this map, right? They've castled off over by barrels because a lot of teams, what they'll do is they'll put a little bit of pressure over by warehouse and then they'll work and take control of above. You know, they'll try to take control of armory, create some vert, isolate individual gunfights. And when you looked at the game against Shopify, one of the things that Shopify did really well was play into that. You know, really made it difficult to take the control of that map, catch the attackers as they come down the site. So maybe G2 just learned something in that game that they can utilize. One thing I do like, when you bring the castle and you give it to somebody like Stompn, he can put those barricades down.
Oh no, Alamau, who started 3-1, now 3-4, and no longer talking inside of the server. Easy entry for Fantasy. Blaz got overwhelmed as well, finished off by Wizard, and just like that, 2 early kills for NIP. We haven't even seen basement yet. It's the roam game that has failed for G2.
That Scopo's gone, and that's one of your C4s, I believe, as well, that's been taken out of play. Instead of actually, so you've got 2 C4s left alive. Scopos is gone. You can't afford to lose those operators in their stage. And it's criminal to lose Scopos, because if the pressure's on, you run around the corner, you get safe, and you just teleport back to site.
Once again, G2 are on the back foot at this position. Constantly where they were at on bank. And it feels like now it's become permanent. The doubt starts to creep in. NIP just need to keep playing that slow play style. But they lose Hades to Stompn towards Medical and makes the escape down the hallway and can also get back to site. Wants to keep taking these fights though, in hopes that he will keep getting aggressed upon by NIP. He did well to stall out and still made his way back to basement. Under a minute left. Still a player advantage though for NIP. Stompn doing everything he possibly can to give G2 a lifeline here in this 4th round. But he is pinched, he is cornered, he is stuck. Is there a way in which he can get himself out of this situation? The timing might help him. Cons. Wizard though, catches him at the stairwell. Stompn will fall. Loira and Doki, the only 2 left standing now.
Yeah, Wizard, he's pushed down to the bottom of these filtration stairs. The head holes, but there's nobody there. They'll try to delay outside some time now at this point from Doki, but NIP in a brilliant position. But Doki will find 1, going to 3 versus 2. This next fight could be there, but look, the flames are going to hold them out. A little bit of damage done. Loira gets 1.
And Wizard's low. Loira gets a 2nd and a 3rd. The demon has arrived on there to save G2 in what looked like a round going the way of NIP. Loira remains them.
A 4 versus 2, and G2 win the round out, but it's all about choke points. There was, yes, you're down the numbers, but there's only one real place that they're going to push from because of how much time that NIP used, and G2 took advantage once more.
That is a massive reprieve for G2. Staring down the barrel of 3-1 deficit, they claw it back courtesy of Doki and Loira. Doki played that so well, went prone actually on site when the pressure was coming from NIP. They scout, they don't see, he pops up, he gets free kill, and then Loira is able to play off of that and get a couple himself. G2 take a timeout at 2-2 on the scoreline because they definitely yeah, they still got some things to talk about, clearly.
The first minute, everything went wrong. You lose a player in the first 10 seconds, then you lose the Scopos. Yes, you won the round, but it wasn't based off tactical brilliance, it was based off phenomenal individual plays. So G2 need to fix it, because if they keep playing like that on defense, there's definitely more rounds that can be found for NIP.
You cannot create holes in space on a map like Lair. The attackers will then just filtrate throughout the map. They will then be able to take so much control. And that's what we saw in that previous round. And again, you could kind of see that NIP wanted to play that slow style once they had the advantage. Credit to Stompn, though. He was able to get one back at an important time. Had he lost his life there, we're talking about 5-on-2. Yep. That's even more difficult then.
And look at the site we're going to. Bonk's briefing. Remember we went here in the very first round of the game, and NIP got the case down, and it came down to a 1 versus 1 with just like
1v2.
Yeah, but one player was going for the defuse, the other one was swinging, and it was right down to the wire. NIP did something similar. They found a few picks in the early stages onto G2 and created holes onto sites. So for G2, confidence to come back here despite that first round.
The rounds that we've had on Lair have certainly been closer in nature than what we had in the first two maps. And the map itself now at 2-2 is also closer in nature. So looks like we're getting a top finish here for what's been a top quarterfinal so far. But a long way to go for both of these two teams. NIP's not going to be too fearful right now. They've already gotten 2 attacking rounds. Kind of job done. Still 2 more opportunities to find 1 more. They are in the better position. G2 still need to get more defensive rounds on a map like Lair. Bunks and briefing. 5th round. The most important thing for G2 is they've got to stop giving these entry wins to NIP. I know you want to be aggressive. You want to get into the face of the attackers. But try and find a way to just be a little bit more survivable.
Loira, the only defender currently playing inside of bunks. The rest of the attackers are on that top floor, setting up something similar that we saw over by storage in our 6th room a little while ago, which will make it a little bit of a time delay. Like you can see Stompn playing on the Ella can play off the back of those Grismot mines. If someone pops off, he can swing, take on that gunfight when things are working his way. But one thing you got to worry about is the fact that Cons is bringing the blitz. NIP have had success with shields when we've come here, so do not let them take too much ground for free. Minute and 40 to go though, not a single bullet fired in anger against any members of the opposition either way. This all plays into the favor of G2.
Fantasy wanting to get that air jab out towards the deployable shield, make that no longer playable. Does do so successfully. Blaz at the end of this corner though. Fantasy's trying to push deep. He may get timed here on the swing, but Blaz doesn't think about going for it. And maybe in the earlier rounds, he would have. That seemed to be more of their mindset, but he falls back, wants to play with his teammates. Fantasy flashing himself.
This is all so slow and so patient. Blaz playing inside of server. Doki not too far away either as he currently stays inside our 6th room. Now the shield will start pushing in towards server as you look to clear position, but Loira will find the opener with the C4. Now the momentum is going to go in favor of G2, and there's a second kill. G2 taking control.
Well, guess what? You value your life, you stay alive, you protect the site, you protect the area, you get the round win. G2 bring it back to the basics. No more running around. That gets them fired up. 2 rounds in a row for G2.
3 rounds on defense, though. Is that enough? Do you feel they still need to win 1 more round and take a 4-2 split? Because if with this map being as defender-sided as it can be, you'll find that NIP will be more than happy with 2. If they can get a 3rd, that is a bonus. And we're going to go back to the top floor. It's Master or 6th room to close out the half. And funny enough, this is the most globally the most defender-sided
But it's where they've
site.
struggled.
I know. It's the irony of it all, right?
So final round of this half. If G2 can get it to 4-2, that is job done.
Yep.
That's the pass mark. For both teams, it's not to suggest that for G2 they will end up, sort of winning the half. You're on defense layer. The expectation is to get these rounds.
I'm looking at the setup as well for G2. They're heavily reliant of Goyo. They have been all game long. You've got the fact that Doki will be playing with the Tachanka. He's got the shield set up not too far away from Mask, and he'll be looking to stop any push coming from that Mez side. Loira, you even look at this part of the setup. Usually, you'll see teams reinforce off one of the walls and contest with NIP when they walk into the building, but they're completely surrendering it. They're using the door as the early detection signal is when it's shot open, you know someone's pushing, and then Doki from behind the shield will be able to use the Smika to stop the push through Mez.
If G2 can just keep it basic here, similar to the previous round, the fallbacks, not over-peaking, not overstepping their mark, it means that NIP have to create more themselves, because I think the early part of this half, NIP themselves didn't have to create a lot because G2 were coming at them. So for G2, it's been a big change-up ever since that tactical timeout. And I know you said, they won the round, they made it 2-2, but then they called the timeout. Well, arguably, they probably should have lost that round. It should have been 3-1. So clearly they had things to work on.
And the timeout helped. They came back and they won that next round in outstanding fashion.
That clutch from Loira and Doki has salvaged this map and potentially their time at this tournament.
Yeah, well,
Alamau, though, has still not found a kill since the opening round.
He's not really had the best day at the office here on Lair so far, but...
And he's the smoke as well.
Yeah. That's actually a great point, because he's the operator that's in by storage. Well, so then now Lyra has to take that position of fighting from inside storage and stopping that push from the other side.
And less stall out possible without the gas canisters. Pino is low in response to that opening pick. Did take some damage back. 4 drones remain for NIP. Make that 3.
Cons is alone with the case, by the way. He's the one pushing through Skybridge at this moment in time. The rest of the members of NIP are pushing the other side of the map. So Lyra is going to do some damage. He's going to step right. He's going to drop below. That's clever with the fact that Doki with the Smika stops that from happening.
And Cons on the backside finds the pick onto Lyra, not expecting it. Fully anticipating their swing towards the mezzanine. Blaz, what a pick, though, onto Fantasy. Great headshot from the elevated position. Wizard still outside in the exterior. Fighting Blaz, who's trying to defend this mezzanine position.
Cons rotating down right away as well. Blaz will make it a 3v3, but pushing on to Mez is Cons with the case. He's got Blaz, though, to deal with. He's having a massive impact on this game as he'll rotate back towards it.
Cons, Pino, both very low. This is very winnable for G2, especially on defense in a 3v3 with low time remaining in the round. Not much that Stompn, Blaz, and Doki need to do from here, but hold their positions. Stay alive. Watch these doorway positions, but Stompn lost his life. Traded, though, by Blaz rather quickly, but then Doki falls. It's all down to Blaz. 2 players that are very low at quad and now looking for the ace. 1 second in time. Cons needs to find their pick and can't do it. It may not be an ace from Blaz, but the 4 kills do enough for G2 to find their 4th round. How fitting.
Do you know how much reserve he had this show? He had a quad kill. You're thinking I can get the ace, but he didn't take the risk. He knew just by staying behind the shield that the round was won. Not a lot of players would show that restraint.
G2. Oh, what a game so far. So they win 3 rounds straight. Started with that Lyra clutch. And they've kicked on ever since. NIP now go defense themselves.
I don't even know where this game can go from here. We know how strong this map is for the defending side, but G2 have done what they needed to do. They won their 4 rounds, and this now becomes a massive pendulum round. If G2 can win the opening round at attack and go to 5-2 on the scoreline.
Oh, they'll have very little pressure for quite a while.
And look at the other side of the stage. It's going to get there's going to be so much pressure on the NIP. Now, NIP do still have their timeout. It's worth keeping that in mind as we move on to the second half of this game. G2, they backed themselves. He used his timeouts, and they won a couple of rounds off the back of it. That was just really good. He saw something he didn't like on the attacks or on the defenses. They solved it. They get the 4-2 half.
Big games always have big moments. You never know when it's going to be your moment. Lyra in 1 round, Blaz in another. We're talking about some crucial moments. And G2 won both of those. NIP haven't really had their moment just yet here on Laird that goes their way. They've controlled a lot of this game. They've been good in large patches, but in terms of the clutches and the 1vx's, 2vx's, that's where G2 have been more successful so far in the opening half, but they were on defense, and those are a bit more viable on defense. But as you said, this opening round now, the second half becomes oh so crucial. G2 make this 5-2, and NIP is sweating bullets.
It's not even the scoreline, though. It's the fact that G2 won so many close rounds. Apart from 1 round where they dominated by winning over by server, every round was like a 1v1 or a 1v2. It was brought to the brink. You think back to that big play where it was a 2 versus 4, and they're able to get it over the line. So for NIP, stand strong on the defense. G2 will work incredibly hard clearing it. Now, something worth noticing is the fact that Cons is inside operational room. Does Alamau know? Is there a drone? I don't think
he's got no idea.
He has no clue. This could be disaster. Yeah. Oh no, he misses.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about the timing there as Alamau ducked down. Alamau, by the way, is still on 3 kills since the opening round. After he dropped to that bot comment, fortunately his teammates are doing a lot of the heavy lifting. But Cons, Well, the sneaky clash finds the opening pick, and boy, does that make this round far more comfortable for NIP. They kickstart their own defensive half. No Roteros, no Flores, and though now no Azami. Big pick from Loira. He goes to 7 kills, leading the way for G2.
Minute and 30 seconds to go. 4 versus 4. The clash is still alive as Cons will control Mez, and Stompn might be the next player to push this way as he will try to push over from that operational room. But Cons, he's going to step on it. You've got clash. It's so easy to step out and look over by Skybridge, clear that 90-degree angle, and then move back. But Stompn pushes in the Mez now, but he's got no supports.
Shot in the back. No one watching towards the mezzanine. A lack of position here from the defenders. The clash will be down temporarily. Doki shuts down Pino. The smoke coming to try and aid the situation. Blaz now feels comfortable to vault in towards display. A peek at the doorway from Hate, but then falls back. Now, Cons did get brought back up, so that is shield standing. 40 seconds left, though. Still a big advantage for G2 here to find an attacking round to kickstart the second half.
Cons, as you said, is so low here as well. So with 30 seconds to go, a C4 will be sent out to the Abyss, and they're going to get no value off the back of it. But Clash needs to stand and hold this position. The orange silhouettes are stacking up. 15 seconds to go. Stompn with the case. If he can get something off a Wizard, G2 can take this round.
He's low, though, and he does get knocked down. 10 seconds left. You have the time for the revive. Apparently you do. 7 now deep into red time. Wizard will stay prone behind the desk. Big nitro from Hate. Big kill as well from Wizard. Stompn's now down and time runs out entirely for G2. NIP able to stall out long enough. Cons, he got knocked, but he got brought back up. And he was able to do enough towards the server side of the map to keep them at bay for as long as possible on that clash. And Hate's on site doing a decent job as well. Full credit to NIP, because Gibson, it looked like it was slipping away from them.
It really did, and it's not like G2 to lose a round to triple zeros as well. So at that point, you gotta think NIP win a crucial round in this game. They start off their defense the right way, and now they're gonna look to tie the sides as we're gonna go for that site swap. Now it does look like they've gone down to the basement, so as we said, it's a site which you pointed out, 60+% win rate for the defenders on the site, and in SL, this is an SL team. They'll be hoping that the stats ring true in this game.
51% attacker, though, for EML. Again, it's funny how the overall defensive win rate on Lair between the two regions is actually quite equal.
Yep.
But it's the sites that are a little bit different in the way that they're all played and the numbers. Certainly G2 had some opportunities, but also so did NIP to probably ground down an easier round win, considering they got that opening pick onto Alamau. They had the early 5v4, but then Cons gets caught running through sight in the back, through the doorways, and then that kind of changed things a little bit, and I felt like midway through that round, G2 certainly got themselves into an advantaged position, but just failed to capitalize. Credit to NIP, though. And boy, we're getting a really good finish here on Lair, because we didn't really get this back and forth on the opening 2 maps.
Talk about getting downed in like the perfect position as well, where they've got cover that you can't get flushed out, and that came back to help NIP. It really bit G2 with that one. A Stompn could not take advantage, but as we go down to the basement, you've got, what, 2 defenders playing in sight. One's by Tetris, one's by Lab, and then way up around the rest of the map is a top floor push. Now, Scopos, one of the things that G2 did not do well on this site was they lost the Scopos early. I want to see if NIP can play that operator a little bit better, use it to waste more time, and then choose the correct time to drop back to site.
Scopos is very much a hit-and-miss operator. It doesn't always necessarily work out, but if it does, it can be so impactful. Early logic bomb from Stompn. Good drone work as well here from Alamau. Has eyes on Fantasy inside of Lab.
Yeah, look, it's fully horizontal. So they're ignoring the top floor completely. They're going to push way over from the east to the west as they make their way through the map. A lot of presence inside of lockers here and barrels for the defenders. Doki, he's going to just walk in towards Whistle Six Stand. There's nobody there. Pino was really far back. They're giving up so much of this map for free to G2. And with that being the case, Stompn...
Because they got Vert.
Yeah.
They're hoping that G2 go for this horizontal push without clearing above in terms of briefing. But Stompn now in security. Blaz also going first floor. G2 will do their due diligence and look to put the pressure on that first floor. And Logic Bomb Deathmark, by the way. But Hate finds the opening pick onto Stompn, so he lost that battle. And then Cons with a double kill as well. And suddenly, it all falls apart for G2. The attack is null and void. It's flawless from NIP. G2 was setting up, but never got going. Stuck in first gear, and we are tied on Lair.
They walked exactly into the trap that NIP had set. They literally wanted G2 to push horizontally for the main factor of the push and then just have a little bit of presence on the top floor. They take advantage and the sides are level. Round 9. Can NIP get into the lead now on defense, or can G2 on the tertiary site turn things back into their favor?
And if NIP take this round, it'll be 3 in a row, and that's when the doubt starts to creep into the mind of G2. Do we know how to attack this map? Do we know what we're doing here? How do we break down this defense? And it also means that for NIP defensively, you do that well too. You go through 3 bomb sites, and then guess what? You get to do that again. Put so much pressure on G2. Usually 5-5 comes the very crucial breakpoint kind of round, especially on a third map like this. But right now at 4-4, that almost feels similar in nature. Because if NIP win this, you get to go back to a primary site, and suddenly you could be looking at 6-4 the scoreline.
I think this stream as a whole has had the more entertaining games. I think if you've been hanging out with us over the course of the last few days, you're getting rewarded for the bang for your buck. But we are so close to the conclusion of this game.
Again, it's going to come down to these moments. It really will. In the first half at G2, they won their moments. They took them with both hands. But now, in this second half, we haven't probably had a position like that eventuate, come to fruition, but it certainly will in these next couple of rounds, and you've got to be ready for it. Might be a 1v2 or a 2v3, 2v4. They're all winnable.
Look at the decision-making of the lineup as well. Alamau has brought the shotgun with the Ying, which tells you that they want to play this so up close and personal with that operator. Stompn and Doki preparing to make their way in through the, you got some pressure by Skybridge, you got Blaz not too far away, but NIP have drawn a line across this map and they're saying, we're going to give you everything up to this point, and then you're not going to go no further. Now, Lyra will go for the backstab for the side of G2 when it does come push to shove. But with so many players still outside the map, they're going to look for that first pick. And I'm looking at the drone economy. They've got plenty to work with. They've got a ton of utility, but they've got to make it work.
Slow creep from Doki here through the Skybridge, but he's flashed by the own Kendala from Alamau. Doesn't really change a lot, though, down towards green. Oh, Fantasy, though, tucked in. Loira will drone him. Fantasy will move off the back of that drone, starting to feel the pressure from 2 different positions. Doki still pushing down green stairs. Fantasy now 4 white. They've got to find this kill. They actually find one onto Hate. He goes down at the hands of Blaz. Fantasy went prone and no one came in his direction. Still on the stairs, though. Goes for the run. Holding was Cons. Yeah, Doki kept the shield up because of Cons. The Azami gave him cover, but G2 have the advantage.
Yeah, he got away with that one. He managed to get back to site. Now, you still have lost one, but just like that, Wizard will level the sides once more. But Blaz keeping pressure on the side of G2. Over now by that security side. Cons will hold inside the side, making sure nobody can walk in. 45 seconds. Get on. You look at what G2 are doing right now. Nobody's actively droning.
Cons
and Cons gets the kill.
Taking the battle through briefing, but it's Doki with the pistol of all players. Slight advantage for G2, and the ROU goes out. Shield screen up, but Wizard finds the kill onto Doki. Stompn and Loira, the 2 players you would want in this position, now down to 1. And it's the rookie himself in a crucial 9th round. 1v2, 20 seconds. Can he make it happen towards green stairs? Pino and Wizard isolated by themselves. Stompn, you've got to go. You've got to move. This could be your moment here in this match. Wizard will fall back and plays the time, and he plays it well, and there is no kit in hand. And right now, no chance at all given to Stompn. NIP dare not push forward. They go 5-4 up, and G2 are on the ropes.
And G2 let another round go away. They were in a position to get the win. They got the opening kill. You had a player trapped below the stairs. You allowed him to get back to site. And then those toxic canisters just blew open everything you had. There was nothing Stompn could really do at that point. NIP, they moved to 5 rounds on the defense. A clean sweep on the opening half of their defending phase. G2 now trailing here on Lair. G2 need to win 2 rounds on attack just to force overtime, and I don't see it happening here.
Well, they haven't done it so far in this half at all. 3 rounds straight now for NIP. Defense prevailing here on Lair. 10th round coming up. NIP now 1 round away from match and series point. Semi-final point could be on the other side of this round unless G2 can finally break through on the attack. In fairness to Stompn, the way that was played in a 1v2 with so low on time, he never, ever had a chance to win that with the way that NIP played it. They did not give him any opportunity to create a highlight reel moment.
And Wizard just retreated. That's all he had to do.
Yep.
Just keep retreating around the corner. You know Stompn's going to hunt for the kills in that situation. They've played it really well. Like NIP, they don't win games based off one star player just dismantling a team.
Well, it's a team effort,
exactly.
And it needs to be. You're playing at this level, you can't just have a single player be the main show.
Doki and Stompn and Alamau all have been quite, you pointed out, still another round where Alamau has not gotten a kill.
He's 3-1, he's 3-8. That is insane, but he's also now playing a role where I think he understands it's not my day. I can help facilitate the Ying, the Candelas. But whose day will it be for G2 to try and make this happen? Now turning into a comeback as they were 4-2 up. It has been a little bit topsy-turvy for them. They've had good moments and certainly bad moments.
So they're going to try to open up that wall now that gives them direct access in towards Mass. Now I'm looking at the breach. It doesn't really look, at least to what I can tell, like the cleanest breach in the world, but you'll wrap around the other side, you'll open up the other wall. They're at least at the meantime setting up to go for a mask plant. And now I know a lot can change in 2 minutes, but that looks like what the objective is. Doki will go down below. He'll try to clear Mez with those fire bolts at some point. You can see for NIP, Pino is going to push down the stairs. He might just meet Doki at that point, but here up at the window, here's that gunfight I was just speaking about.
Pino did go for a little peek down main stairs. Found a loitering Doki. Gas bait, free drone. Hello and goodbye. 5 drones remain now for G2. 90 seconds, flashbang. Looking to push forward and looking to clear out this smoke, and Doki gets the entry to go his way. Doesn't need to over-aggress. Knows that Fantasy's holding that mezzanine position. Pulls out the bolt, but Fantasy's got the bullet into the head of Doki. Not the time for the crossbow. Evens things up now for NIP.
Yeah, and at this point now, Fantasy full control of Mez. Alamau with the case over by Operation Room will need to take the fight. Cons is just tucked in the corner as well. Now as it stands, Blaz will rotate over towards Bathroom as another Candela goes off, and Loira will make it a 5 versus 3 as things stand. But they need a little bit more. They're going to use the shotgun, make yourself a rotate move, but you're still nowhere near sight here, Jake.
40 seconds, couple of drones. There's not a lot of information now for G2. We're talking about doorway swings and having to find these people. I think that might have been a missed drone as well onto Hates. Loira coming outside Bathroom now. Wizard up close. Still has a nitro, but he never elects for it. Went for the shotgun. The knife from Loira onto Wizard. Plus the headshot onto Hates opens up this round. Cons in a 1v2. And they make it a 3 though. With the revival onto Stompn, G2 certainly have the numbers. Can Cons play the time? Takes contact with 1. Expecting the push to come through from server, but Loira the Demon shows up in Cons Nightmares. We are tied on this final map.
That means we are going to see every single round in regulation to separate these two teams and potentially even more. G2, a lot of good things. Doki took the ground early, won the fight, but Fantasy got the kill, and you thought, oh, this is going to be maybe an opportunity for NIP to close it out. But Stompn walked in at an impact, and it forces the NIP timeout. They've saved it in the back pocket. There's just 2 rounds in regulation left. We're going to see both of them one of these two teams is going to get the opportunity to close this one out before overtime. We said it, G2 hadn't won an attacking round yet. They win it after a clean sweep from NIP. They still need to win at least one more for overtime. Or could they even find two?
7-3 on Cafe to G2. 7-4 on Bank to NIP. A series that hasn't really been close in nature. Now tied 5-5 on the final map. Who can get themselves semi-final point and at the very least the comfortable OT at minimum. The 11th round, it beckons, it calls. It's Master and R6. G2 finally breakthrough on the attack. Loira has been so sensational at this event. He's doing it once more. Now 12-5 and leading the troops in this do or die quarterfinal.
Going to go to the same site once more. So NIP have said, right, you've won it. We can go back, we can do it again. They spoke during the timeout. They decided they want to play this site to give themselves a chance to go. Now, what have they done to change things up? Hates will switch on over to the Mira. It's a mute smoke combo as well. Azami with the Kiba barriers can create a lot of angles that can be difficult for those attackers to push. But on the other side of the coin, what are G2 going to do? They brought the Ying last time. They brought Doki once more on the Capital. So they're not changing anything here either. G2, like what they have for the site, I'm going to dare say they pulled out round black from the blink, so they didn't even get to execute the attack that they wanted to. So there's no reason why they can't bring the same 5 operators.
Starting shock drone.
This opening kill is going to be so crucial. G2 themselves back in EML, not known really for being the best entry team, only a 46% entry rate, but they're the best team at converting when they do get it at a whopping 82%.
It's not bad.
It would set them up beautifully. Alamal's still 3 kills, by the way. We'll just keep tabs on that one. But Loira is doing the heavy lifting, and that's all that matters. NIP go top floor. Master R6. It's the safe site. That's where they'll feel comfortable. But right now, I don't know how any of the 10 players inside of the server could feel comfortable.
I think while all that was going on too, they mirror tricked, you know, the impact tricked through the mirror window, that opening attempt at a breach, which doesn't allow them the ability to walk in through that section of the map. Now Stompn is still out on that balcony. As things stand, you can safely play there because there's nobody over by Skybridge at this moment in time from NIP. Alamau's going to drone out. Remember, does he see how careful he was to drone that little corner in operation room this time? There's no misdroning this time. It ain't going to happen again.
Well, there's no clash on the board, though.
No.
Obviously banned that one out. But still wanting to make sure that no errors once again happen. A little bit slow this round, though, from G2, but top floor there can play out that way.
They've already taken Mez, though. Like, Alamau's already pushed up there. The Kiba bar is going to climb, but Fantasy's going to fall. So G2 have taken a vital bit of control as things stand. Alamau finds another kill on a 4 versus 3
Cons can't get away.
Stompn with another 4v2.
They
G2.
pick the pace up suddenly out of nowhere, and it catches NIP off guard. Wizard with a shotgun. Can't even find the down, but eventually the kill on the re-swing from Alamau overcooks a little bit, but Wizard low on health. A 3rd kill found for Stompn. Hates is all that's left, and G2 now suddenly on the verge of finding match point at the conclusion of this round, unless Hates can pull off something rather special. A flash, the Nitro was thrown, but it's G2 that have fought back. Match series point to the EML champions. NIP must now force overtime here on Lair.
That is the loudest G2 have been all through today. They are going to get the opportunity to win this 2 times in a row. NIP brought us to the same site, and 2 times in a row, it was the same outcome. G2 win the round. NIP now have 1 chance to force overtime. If you ask me where I would go if I were them, I'd be going down to the basement, but they have a different thing in mind. They're going to go over towards that storage side, you know. So with that being the case, what do you got to do? NIP, we talked about not giving G2 early picks. That last round, G2 just walked in the mez and found 2.
Well, it's relief. And pressure may be lifted off the shoulders of G2. Even just if it's temporary for this one round, you now can play a little bit more free overtime secured. The same cannot be said for NIP. Yes, they're on defense, but they will be feeling the pressure. 5-6 after they won 3 rounds straight and set themselves up nicely with a 5-4 lead. Since then, G2 seemingly out of nowhere flipped the script and have now got match and series point looking ahead to that semi-final. Can NIP make one last stand and force overtime on Lair? They must not play scared. They must not give total map control to G2 and just fall back. You've got to take the ballsy fights. You've got to go at them.
So hard for NIP, though, to not feel the pressure right now. You lose this round, not only will you see G2 progress, you go home. And the money, that even for the next round, is a massive jump on what they find in this position. Stompn will walk inside of Operation Room with the case in hand. Fantasy is not a million miles away as vertical control will be held by the members of NIP. 3 players not too far away as Wizard will look to put pressure on anybody who walks in as he currently stands in our 6 room. But look, a couple of those toxic canisters have been used already and there was nobody there. They threw the toxic canisters off the base of a drone.
Just feels a bit quiet inside of the server as G2 go hunting, looking to make these entry positions. NIP at the ready. Pino inside of storage. Stompn with the kit once again. Default shot out. 5 drones remain for G2 with half the round still playing Fantasy with a little bit of a creep here at the moment. Still top floor in server. Could he catch someone off guard from G2? Stompn to clear out through Master. Still need to deal with Pino. There is still this top floor pressure from NIP.
And by opening up that server wall, it makes things a little bit more difficult for Fantasy now, who's going to have to tuck himself into another corner, which will give Stompn one less thing to worry about. Blaz might put pressure on towards R6 room as he will step in now. Wizard tucked not too far away, but you look, Pino, Alamau's not too far away. He's going to swing around the corner.
Takes the fight.
This could be the fight.
And Alamau wins it. It's a crucial win against Pino. And he got the second onto Wizard. Yes, Cons get one, but then the second to follow. So crucial from Cons because it looked like it could have been down and out for NIP. And suddenly it's only Stompn left in the 1v3 as NIP will hold strong in this match point round.
He's got to go for the res. You've got to get him back on your feet. You have the time, and all the members of NIP have
They couldn't, could they?
They could, but they've fallen back to site. Can Stompn and Blaz get this done?
20 seconds, as you said, for Blaz and Stompn, but now minus Blaz. But plus Stompn is maybe all you could need in this moment. 1v3. But no shutdown, no rookie is going to do that to NIP, and we go to overtime in this quarterfinal.
Okay, this is going to be big. We saw 2-4-2 halves. G2 activated at the very end of their attacking half. Overtime, though, NIP get the advantage of starting on defense.
They get double defense. It sets them up. That was the opportunity for G2 to close it out and progress to the semi-final. NIP double defense is pretty nice to be in their position.
And the site's going to be lab. If I remember right, it was was it a flawless, or at least very close to being so for NIP the last time they defended this site. Remember, you pointed out 51% was what, so 1 in every 2 rounds the attackers would win on the site, but in Brazil, it is a defender's fortress.
62% in Brazil.
Yep. I'm so ready. I'm
gonna
so
pause
ready.
though, just to keep the tension flowing as we have a little pause. And by the way, we've now gone Bunk's briefing.
It's changed.
It's changed. I feel like they do this on purpose, by the way. Like
They've done it twice.
They've done it twice. A little bit yesterday as well, and there's a bit of similarity, is there not, Gibson, in terms of the Furia W7M matchup that closed out yesterday. Now this to start today. The B-Stream's been quite fortunate. So 6-6 between NIP, G2, final map. Everything that has happened to this point, you could disregard, it's irrelevant, does not matter. Comes down to potentially 3 rounds of Siege to decide if you progress to the semi-final. Both teams, you could argue, deserve it. Only one is going to be capable of moving forward.
And it's funny because we obviously know it's the all North American matchup happening after 3 rounds at most. I saw some of the SSG players actually stop to watch this game for a while when they're supposed to be doing some last second break. I'm captivated. They are. It is 6-6. It's overtime. It is home or through for these teams. And as you said, the matchup doesn't get any easier. You know, you've got a tough opposition at the end of this game, but you know for a fact you've been in one. And at this point, both sides have been excellent. One side excellent on Cafe. The other side were phenomenal on Bank. Whoever wins this will have earned it. What is it the phrase over here? Nothing is granted, everything is earned.
Exactly. Nothing is granted. Who's going to earn the right to play in the semi-final? Is there just a little bit more magic to come our way in this quarterfinal matchup? The fairy tale run of NIP from a South American League stage that saw them make top 3, re-announce themselves, it feels like, to the international world of Siege. G2, EML champions, and so much notoriety now on this roster, an expectation that's been applied, and overtime to separate these two to decide who will advance forward. G2 on the attack. Alamau got himself off those 3 kills and started to shine towards the end of the regulation.
And it's been off the back of that Ying shotgun again, and Doki once more will bring the Capital, but Loira finds the opener on the Fantasy. Down goes the Goyo, but the utility should be placed. But opening kills have been so vital for G2.
They have, and as I said before, they've got an 82% conversion rate when they find opening kills in EML. Will that apply here? Player up for G2, 90 seconds. How do they utilize this advantage? Can NIP bring this round back? Otherwise, G2 will once again acquire another match and series point. G2 will remain slow. They keep the pace the same. They don't change their course of action. Plenty of drones and plenty of information still that they can acquire in this round. They don't need to overcook.
Alamau flicking through those cams at the moment as well, because of course when you're on Ying's shotgun, you got to wait for the right moment to get active in the round so he can feed information to the team.
They've got so much information and so much utility. They're well set up into this final minute.
It's going to help them for sure. Loira's going to vault into bathroom now as he will move towards server where Wizard will be waiting. Pino tucked in the corner. Khan's behind the desk inside of A. The push comes in. Alamau with a shotgun again will find that kill to make it a 5v3.
He's found what works for him. Candela into shotgun swing. And Wizard will fall as well. And G2 starting to tear apart this defense of NIP. Cons and Pino. All that remain, and Pino will fold as well, and so does Wizard, and it's a flawless start to overtime for G2. They get to go defense now as well. 2 more opportunities for G2 to close out this quarterfinal. Now suddenly, NIP on the ropes once again. Can they keep fighting though from that position?
This is what happened yesterday on the game. The team that started on defense was Furia. They lost that round. They had to force an attacking win to take it all the way. NIP, you need to win an attack or your EWC journey ends here and today. What do you got to do? Win the site that G2 just did. We're going to the top floor once more. NIP, do you have it in you?
Master and R6. Defense now for G2. 2 opportunities for G2. 1 now still here on defense. If this does not work, then they get a final one at 7-7. And it was Alamau that I think has been a big reason why they've gotten themselves into this position. His work at the back end of regulation. And now to start overtime, finding entry picks. Making good use of those Candelas and allowing others to then play off of the position that he then opens up. NIP on the attack though, it's been a while, but don't forget in the first half, they probably should have been 3-1 up. They are capable.
Yep.
But now they must win this round or they will be heading home from the Esports World Cup.
Crazy how he was able to recognize the shotgun. If you continue to push over towards storage in those short corridors, you'll always have the advantage. But it is now NIP who need to crack G2. Mira was brought by Stompn inside of this round. You've got a lot to deal with. Todoki, we saw him play Tachanka before. It's the exact same setup, if needs be. Doki will, of course, just play inside of our 6 room, right by that rotate, and send the Sumikas over towards the door. Now, it does look like the ace has opened up the wall that looks in towards Mez from Operation Room. That will give them a line of sight, but nobody from G2 is going to peek there yet. Lyra is playing a position that is all about audio. Look at the stack up on the balcony outside between Wizard and Cons as they're going to open up that mask wall.
Reinforced wall becomes soft on the left side. Know that NIP's pacing at times can be slow, and certainly on this side it may then compound on that, but they need to make sure they don't leave themselves low on time. That's when the stress and the nervousness nature starts to creep in the final 20, 30 seconds, and you start to make rushed decisions. I'd like to see NIP try and do something a bit earlier, maybe 40, 50 seconds rather than 20, 30.
Cons now pushing over Skybridge towards storage. That fight that Cons won earlier on a map today against Alamau. But as they push over, they've now, I believe, opened up both sides of that mask wall, and Cons will reposition off the back of it. He wants to get through that gap and get the plant down. Doki and Lyra are the 2 players you really need to worry about at this point. You can see that Fantasy's going to hold the angle, but Stompn could get a big flank. He could be the key for this one.
Stompn can swing.
Gets one.
Stompn could swing, defend that mezzanine position over towards the server hallway. Blaz, big pick onto Cons, advantage for G2.
Case is cold.
Flash goes out on the Stompn swing, but he doesn't lose his life. No, never mind, he does. From behind comes Hates. He pushes together with Fantasy. 30 seconds, 3v3.
Case is cold. They're all stacking up now on the door. Fantasy will walk into sight on the other side, but we're sitting on board with Hates. He's holding the cover, he's holding the crash, but with 25 seconds to go.
Blaz will play back, but he gets spotted. Long angle found from Fantasy, and the case gets picked up, and now looking to get put onto the ground inside a mask, but Fantasy will fall. 12 seconds left. He picks it up in the flames, but Hates will fall too. Wizard needs to find this last kill or stick the kit. He will go for the latter inside of mask. Alamau to creep forward and find the kill. And gets it done for G2. Of course it's Alamau. Of course it is. The EML champions progress forward to the semi-finals and knock out the Ninjas in Pajamas.
G2 get it done, and just like that they'll progress. NIP, their journey here in Riyadh is over. But look at the elation. There was essentially a scrum of G2 players celebrating off the back of that one. They know they're in a game. Most of the people watching this thought G2 were the favourites, they'd win it in 2, but NIP brought them all the way and just fell at the final hurdle.
The fact it came down to the 1v1, 5-6 seconds left. Wizard realizing there's just not a lot of time, goes for the 1v1. Every world in which he wins that for NIP and we go 7-7, but Alamau stands strong, and to his credit, he was like 3-8. He went about 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds without finding a kill towards the end of regulation, and over time, the master with the experience rises. The cream rises to the top, and he led them to this win. G2 knockout NIP 2-1 in this quarterfinal. But what awaits them is VP or Furia. It doesn't get easier.
And that's the point. After the first round, he got 3 kills and he called him a bot. He said it's done. I think it was 0-7 he went from that point on. Like, it was so poor, but he brought it back. Yings executed him. As you said, at one point he said, I'm not playing well. I'm going to enable my teammates. He built his confidence back up. And of course, it's a Brazilian in a 1v1 to knock out the team from Brazil.
And NIP, you got to give them credit. Sometimes, I mean, there's always a winner and a loser, but the loser can also play well when they do lose. And I think by and large, the series as a whole, they had a lot of good moments. A wonderful stage 1 in the South America League, a really good tournament, and a really good showing here at the Esports World Cup as well. And it seems like it maybe reestablishes the Ninjas in Pajamas, a historic name in Siege, at the top level here once again. Keen to see how they go in the future. But the present is now with G2 as we go over to the interview with Guz.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Doki, you're telling me you're literally shaking after that match.
I'm not even kidding, I was shaking. I was literally shaking. That was a crazy game.
How did it compare to the other games at this event so far?
hold on, bro. I'm actually sorry.
You're good, you're good.
Yeah, like that was the hardest game by far. They are so good. They played really, really good. They completely destroyed us on bank. Fair enough. That was our pick as well. We weren't ready for that. But yeah, like Leia was just insane. Like Leia was insane. Like they pushed us every round. I think there were so many 2v3s we lost or 3v2s we lost. They really pushed us. And I think as well, you see in the very last round was Tachanka denial. You don't see that anymore in Siege. You know what I mean? Like you don't see that. So yeah, just a crazy game. Every round down to 5 seconds. Just problem solve, problem solve, problem solve. So hard. Well played to Nip.
It's probably not going to get, unfortunately for you, much easier from this point onwards, right? VP or Furia on the other side. How do you sort of preview that match?
I think these guys are good. I don't downplay them. I think that was a very hard match for us to win. Furia, VP tomorrow. I don't know. I'm ready for it. I want Furia. But my boys on VP, I want them to win. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to play a European team again. So boring. So sorry. Sorry, VP.
Well, you've given the G2 fans back home a lot of hope, Doki. What would your message be to them for, you know, obviously their support over what has been a really successful stage thus far?
Yeah, just phone an ambulance, please. My heart's about to give in. No, thank you guys. The support means the world. I know we've gained a lot of new fans from the man himself, Stompn, and his Xbox community. You're all very welcome here. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for all the love, the hate, whatever. I appreciate it. We've got some guys in the crowd here as well. Thank you guys for coming to watch. I appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah, we're back tomorrow.
Awesome. Doki, thank you all so much for your time. All the best tomorrow. We can do a fist pump. We'll throw it back to the desk.
It's no surprise that Doki's heart is absolutely racing. Congratulations to G2 is really all I can say. They kept us on the very edge of our seats. We went the full distance. What do you make of the fact that he said he doesn't want to play another EU team because it's pretty boring?
It's funny that he says that when only 2 players on his team are actually from EU, right? You got 2 Brazilians, you got an American, but I think it's more so the stylistic they don't want to play against VP either, right? Because VP are like a better version of what NIP was able to do today. So that makes sense to me. But Furia G2, if that's the case, that will be an absolute firework of a match.
Yeah, no, I agree. I understand his point. You're playing these EU teams all the time, stage 1. You want something different.
Who do you think is going to win, though, out of VP?
I don't know.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. I'll come back to you because we have another interview ready and ready.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Commiserations, Pino. I mean, unfortunate that you weren't able to get the result across the line this afternoon. What was the biggest difference maker, you think, on map 3? Because Bank, you guys looked incredible. Lair was so close at the end, they just didn't quite have enough to get it across the line.
Yeah, the feeling we had is that the game is slipped out of our hands. Like, we made 3 defense and the game became 5-4 to us. And then they started using Ingi shotgun, but we didn't use warding in non-rounds. So they could make the comeback with that. If we had just a warden, I think we would win. The Ing will probably die and don't get space. So yeah, tough loss. We had that game in our hands. In Café, we started so much nervous. Like we weren't with good combs. We are making silly mistakes, like don't break in the shields of the map. So yeah, tough loss, but it's a good sign. I think that we are on a good path with this new lineup. And I think it's only going to be better for us.
It definitely feels like you guys are on an upwards trajectory at the moment. I know this loss will really suck, but looking towards stage 2, Munich, even SI, are you guys confident now that you can be one of the best teams from Brazil and then globally as well?
I think that it was a good experience for us for this lineup. Like there are two players and the coach that it's their first international land, so I think it would be great for us. We will be more mature. We will know how to deal with these problems next time. So yeah, only good things now.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We really, really appreciate it. All the best for stage 2. Let's take it back to the desk.
Thank you very much for that. Now, Lair G2 were 2-4 up in defense, but then the round started to get away from them. Nip started to make a little bit of a comeback. So what do you think it was? Do you think it was that G2 perhaps had a weaker attack, or do you think NIP really started to warm into it?
I think it was the clutches.
Yeah.
Like throughout the entire map, right? Because any game that comes down to 8-6, it's not just the last round, which funnily enough came down to a 1v1 in that as well, right? So like, I think that's the story of it. You kind of look at the overall server, no one had less than 8 kills out of 10 players. It's pretty unheard of. That's pretty rare. So it comes down to your moments, it comes down to your clutches. Who were better in the clutches? It was G2.
I think the map impacted it as well. You know, Lair is a map where defenders do have a lot of favor, but it was a match about your bottle. Like, as you said, the amount of T players that won individual clutches, it wasn't the same person every single time.
Yeah.
And I want to say this too, like, you look around you, G2 still look like they're elated after that win. You've got kids.
Why wouldn't they be? It was stressful. You could see what it meant for them. As soon as they won that, like, they were all just up and hugging like they've won the whole event, because it's a stressful environment to be in. A map 3, you probably feel like you made a lot of mistakes. You feel like you made a lot of errors. And so when you get over the line, it's that sense of relief along with the excitement. You've made top 4, and it's been a fantastic couple of months for them.
Would you say it was a little bit surprising, seeing as though NIP ended up winning G2 map pick on Bank?
No, it's a good point, but I think that for me, what we got from Lair in the end encapsulates the series in terms of the sense that the opening map was one-sided, the second map was one-sided, and then they kind of came together and showed that they're both evenly matched on the last map, which is probably something that NIP should walk away from and think, we just went toe-to-toe with the EML champions, and there was nothing really separating it outside of a couple of moments here or there. So they can walk away from this event, Gibson, feeling very happy about themselves.
100%. Look, they'll be disappointed to go down to G2, but they brought them to the brink. It was the 3rd place team in Brazil taking on the top dogs in Europe, but G2 will now progress. They're going to take on the winners of VP